Do we have an intro? I don't even know if we have an intro. Oh. Oh, hi.
Hey.
We're back. We're having one of these one-shot reviews. We're doing Vic, this was your pick. Why don't you take control of everything? I mean,
okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Unpopular Reviews. Tonight, we are going to be reviewing none other than the brand new Wonder Years. Mm-hmm. Why did I pick this? I picked this because I grew up watching the original Wonder Years. It was one of my favorite shows. I thought it was really, really good. And I was just interested in just seeing this remix. And, you know, we're doing these one shots. I'm curious to see what everybody thinks, because so far, you know, I think it's good. And I really like the phrase grown folks business. I'm gonna just say that right.
I feel like any black kid that ever grew up with their parents, they was told that, because I know I was told that plenty of times. Even when I asked a simple question, why is Barney dumb? Stay out of grown people's business. I'm like, but it's freaking Barney. He has nothing to do with us.
It's the universal answer. Then shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
I do remember that the show, much like the original, I believe, it has like a voiceover like throughout the whole of the episode, and I'm like, well, I know this voice, and it's freaking Don Cheadle, right? Or
yes, no, you're right, absolutely.
So that's awesome that they brought him in. But I was most excited to see, as an avid Psych fan, like I'm one of the psychos. I don't know if you guys ever watched Psych, but yeah, there was this character. His name was Guster, and he's in this show. And I think his real name is Dwell Hill or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. Because I kept calling him Drew Hill. I was like, oh look, it's Drew Hill, and it's not. It's like Drew Hill.
He's a fantastic actor, great comedic timing, and I think he brought a lot to the show as the dad. But it's told under the perspective of the son. His name is, hold on, let me pull it up.
Dean. I think it was Dean.
Dean. And little geeky boy back in the 60s, and they were just integrating their schools. We come to learn. So they were segregated. There was a scene where they showed the older segregated school, little rundown. They no longer go there. They go to the white school. And when we get to the classrooms and stuff, this little boy comes out, little white boy. And I'm like, this looks like a little Pete Davidson. Don't he look just like Pete Davidson? Or is it just...
I didn't know that. Wow. No.
He looks just like Pete Davidson.
I'll look at him again.
The little Jewish boy, his little friend, facts. Just like him.
1,000% facts. Yes.
I was like, dang, are they related?
Dang. What?
But yeah, they did show like a lot of the family dynamic before they get to the school. Like apparently the dad is like
he's an R&B singer.
He's an R&B singer, but he's also like a professor of music or something. He's a music teacher.
Yeah, he's something with music, and I did like his character too. I loved how smooth he was. I mean, just something as simple as "be cool," like the way he even said it, because anybody could just say that, but be cool. And, he has that old school, like just that old school. I don't know, old school feel. I can't find the words. Yes. So I
we would be remiss as the Black Lightning crew to not mention JJ. JJ is in this show. She's the sister.
Can we tell a funny backstory here real quick? So me and C was talking, and I was like, yeah, our girl from Black Lightning is here, JJ. And I was like, yeah, she's the mom. C had to go like, what?
There's no way in hell this girl is the mom.
And it was so funny. because
No,
the
he
way
had the
she
nerve to
dressed.
send a picture.
Yeah, because the way she was dressed, I said, "Look, she's a mom. Look. I didn't even see the other woman." And here it is. She said, "She's the sister," and I was like, "Oh." I thought that was so. I felt like such an idiot.
Mm-hmm. But this was like a period piece. That's why she was dressed the way she was, and it was disclosed in the episode that even though in the flyer of the show that shows the family with 2 children, but there's actually an older son who's away. The mom said he's away, but he's actually I want to say in Vietnam. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure I get my words right.
No, because my father was in that war, so as soon as I heard it just.
Oh
like
wow. Okay. So yeah, the oldest boy is a soldier, and it kind of comes into play in the episode because Dean wanted to use his brother's baseball mitt.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the mom was, she's, I guess, more protective of Dean's stuff because he's away. He's a soldier. She wants to make sure everything's the same when he comes home.
Dean is Dean's older brother. No, Dean is the guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Dean's older brother. But anyway, we get to Dean. He's playing baseball. Him and his friends have the idea, let's do an integrated baseball game. And this is unheard of at the time. Like everybody was like, what? Even the coach was like, I don't know about all of this, right?
Coach was totally against it.
Yes, he was.
And I thought the coach was good too. But go ahead. Yeah.
Too. He was against it. But mom was like, okay, let's see when we can make it happen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And between the little boy, little Pete Davidson, and Dean, and Dean's little shiesty friend, we find out later, that was the taller one. What's his name? You know who I'm talking about. We'll
call him Scummy for now.
Yeah, his name. Corey. That's his name in the show. Corey. So Corey.
He looks like a Corey.
He's, his little slightly cooler friend had a little growth spurt over the summer, feeling himself. He's also on the baseball team. But we find out that our boy Dean, he has a crush on this little girl on the bus. She's a cutie patootie, with the comic books, very much, independent young girl kicking butt.
Oh my God, she beat that boy up.
You know what I loved about all of that? He knew the girl that everybody liked, but then that was
cool.
There was a different girl that he liked, because it's easy to like the girl that everybody likes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And to like somebody because of them at 13 years old, I think that's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they did give us the misdirect of the first girl coming in the bus. And you're like, oh yeah, her, she's the crush. But then there was the other guy.
I did like that setup though, because you first see her, you're like, oh okay, and then he's like, yeah, but everyone likes her, and then just jump to her, and she, and that was cool. That was a cool misdirect.
Yes, but we find out later in the episode that the friend Corey, who's supposed to be his friend,
let's get there,
started making moves on his crush. He was kissing the crush at the playground, bruh. Kissing the crush at the playground. His best friend
just jumped right into it.
Yep.
It's messy. These are not your friends. You got to watch out for people like this that smile in your face and do shitty stuff behind your back. And if you don't know, this is Wind Down. We're drinking.
You heard that.
I just thought that was a really horrible thing for his friend to do. And the fact that Dean didn't say anything in that moment, he just took it, across the chin. He was upset. But I would have said something. I would have been like, bruh.
I think, but and I didn't want to jump so far ahead, but I just think he was so used to stuff not going his way. Now, I agree. Don't use that pointing at me. I didn't like how that thing just pointed directly at me.
I'm pointing at Dean.
Soft. Yes, soft. Teacup. Where's Teacup?
Where's Teacup?
He was definitely, he should have gave that boy the business and told him about himself when he saw, because the friend knew
can we also realize this was only episode 1? We didn't get to review this whole season where he might have built a bear trap where Corey, when he gets out the bed. I mean, it's not really fair to just this one episode. Yeah, this one episode he was defeated, but we don't know if eventually he becomes Dr. Robotnik and then takes this guy out. Let's be fair here.
He should have brought the smoke to him that day. As soon as he saw them kissing, he should have threw a little baseball right at that little boy.
Yeah. You guys are just thugging. Damn, episode 1, just kill this guy.
Because that's not his real friend. His real friend is little Pete Davidson, because that's the friend he needs. Not
I don't know about Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson's kind of an idiot, because every time the white no, because every time someone white did something, no, she's not prejudiced. But meanwhile, it came off.
He was just letting them know. He was.
I mean,
It was
but
a
you know what
different
though?
time.
You know what though? Here's the truth though. That's very much white culture. Because here's the reality though.
Mm-hmm. They can't see that.
There's no monolith there. You know what I mean? You notice how, like, for example, somebody talks shit about Jamaicans. What? Bumba. You know what I mean? Somebody talks shit about Puerto Ricans. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. When it comes to black and white people, no, they're not a monolith. There's no, you know what I'm saying? That's the shit. So like, a lot of times what they'll do is that they'll cover for somebody else just to cover their own asses. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of times, like, oh, that's racist. No, I'm not racist. You know what I'm saying? And it's just covering themselves. It's just putting a salana over me. You know what I mean? And that shit with that little kid, the fact that he did that shit so many fucking times is very revealing. And all he's saying is like,
but I do think also too, because you gotta remember these are kids. These are kids too. I don't think he's aware of it, but I was using it as a joke. But like
but wait, look at the behavior though. He's just like, please don't stop being my friend. Please don't stop being my friend. That's pretty much what he's saying. Don't stop being my friend. You know what I mean? And that happens a lot today.
Yeah, probably.
But,
I think it definitely does.
I
just don't know if it was his intentions. Like, I don't know. I want to see the good in people. I
that's great. No, and I
okay.
And I agree.
Hey, he's not prejudiced.
And I agree to that. I want to see the good in people. I mean, something Vic said, and I'm glad you said that. You were saying like that happens today. I do want to talk about how in the beginning, how it came off. So this was my first, obviously, all of our first time watching this. But when it came off, because I knew nothing about, this was going to take place in the 60s. So when you see Dean, he's riding a bike and he's saying, our president caused racial tensions. And then there's this disease going on. I thought they were talking about now until he said, oh, yeah, this is good. This is all happening in the 60s. So it's funny how you said that, like all this stuff, like you said, like all this stuff, it's still happening now, like really, really at this moment. I just thought that was interesting when they said that.
But mind you, like this time period is the very, very end of segregation. Like this is like right before the Civil Rights Act, and right before a whole bunch of us got shipped.
This is right around the time MLK just got assassinated.
Yeah, exactly. But mind you, and they literally put that in this episode, which was to me. Like,
I think, and you know, I know we're all over the place, but I think it's just an open forum here. Just show me what kind of show this was, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't watch the original Wonder Years. So I saw some funny and I was laughing, but a lot of stuff. And I spoke with a co-worker of mine who was around that time in the 60s. And when I was mentioning this stuff, I'm not even trying to be funny. He had flashbacks like, yeah, that really did happen. And all these things, like even the scene where they're on the baseball field and they do have that moment where, you know, the black and the white kids are playing together and there's this argument. It was kind of funny though with the father and the coach, and I thought that was some funny stuff. But the mother has to come in and saying, "Don't you show your ass in front of these white people? Don't do that." I just thought like stuff like that, and that stuff that's still, once again, like you mentioned, it's like that stuff still goes on, because you know a lot of times with stuff like that, you know, someone will pull you to the side, like, "Don't you do that?" No, you know, does that make sense? Like it was like, no, no.
Yes, because no, here's the truth. Like, okay, for example, a lot of Latinos suddenly put the values, the opinions of white people above everybody else because of this dynamic. They learn that here. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's something that comes from the history here. If you don't know the history here, then it's really difficult to understand that. But I loved how they put all of that in there. And then, mind you, look what happened at the baseball stadium. Look who told them what happened.
Yeah, the couple, the allies, they came right up to him and said, hey, you know, they thought that the dad and the coach were arguing over the game. And they thought that they were, you know, having a discussion about the death of MLK. So they came over to say, hey, you know, just trying to be an ally. And they did uncover the assassination of MLK, and I thought that was very interesting in a premiere episode to cover that. And even there hasn't been a death, at least as far as political death in my lifetime, that I can say that had like a big effect on me. The only thing I can liken this to, um clearly to a lesser extent, because he wasn't like, you know, a freedom fighter or anything, but Chadwick Boseman, when Boseman passed away, and you know, Black Panther and all of that, it was very touching. Like, a lot of people were emotional, like because you have this connection to this person, because you know, he represents you. Like, it's like you kind of see yourself in that person, because okay, Black Panther, first really big Black superhero that we see in a movie. And the fact when he passed away, it touched a lot of people, especially a lot of people of color. And I kind of, that's how I felt the connection to that, because of course none of us were alive during, you know, when MLK was assassinated.
Right.
But of course we know about it. But as far as to liken it to something like nowadays, that's what I would liken it to. Because when I heard that he died, I was just so shocked, because it came out of nowhere. And I'm sure that's how they felt, because, you know, if someone's assassinated, that's not something that you could actually see coming. So yeah, just, it was interesting for sure.
Yeah, and this show, and I think too, I mean, this, and you just mentioned something like this was only episode 1. It just gave you that, kind of gave you that what this show is about, like, you know, what people were going through in the 60s. Or I don't know if this is necessarily a Don Chino, like they're reviewing, this is his, you know, like maybe this is a fictional character going through that. Because it was interesting when I was looking up stuff about the show. Fred Savage wrote this episode. They say, oh, he was one of the writers or something like that. That was he was the original kid on the show, right? Vic, he was the original. So that was interesting.
You know, but the voice, I think, is supposed to be him, like as an adult. So I don't really remember much about the Wonder Years original, but I think that's supposed to be him as an older person.
Yeah. Yes, it's him narrating as an adult about his childhood.
But I didn't know he wrote this episode. That's really cool.
I said wrote, but he had something to do with it. Because I know when I saw Fred Savage, I was like, oh, I read. Because I'm more familiar with his brother Ben Savage, because Boys Meet World fan over here. But
oh yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Boys Meet World.
Oh yeah.
The funny thing about both of them,
yes,
they are literally typecast for their shows. Like,
oh yeah.
They are remembered for the most.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Outside of like being the mole in Austin Powers, but like that's what they're remembered for the most. Like those shows that they. But anyway, I talk too much. But
no, it's fine. But no, this was such a good pick of a show, because it was so different, and it was, and I did love the funnies that they did throw in there. There was something, I forgot what one character said. It was something to which Don Chino, as he's narrating, I wish I remember, and I wish I wrote it down. But he said some over the lines of like, you know, in today's society, you go to sensitivity camp.
Oh yeah,
he said, and it was so hilarious.
What the coach was saying? Oh hell yeah! Oh,
what was it? You remember? What?
No, I forgot specifically what it was. But
right.
Yeah, the thing is that the shit the teacher was saying,
yeah,
like it was very, very accurate. Like the way that, because mind you, look, you talk to somebody that's in their 90s, and you know they're from that time, and like, come on, they think that way. You can't take that shit away from them. You know what I mean? Like they have that. I mean, they might have learned shit over the years, but that kind of talk, right. Yeah, especially when you grow up. When you grow up in a situation where everybody's segregated, so what happens when you're segregated? You don't learn anything about each other. So look, the greatest thing in this episode was when all the kids were literally just like shaking hands and smiling over a common thing, and like that's how you get to know people. That's how you learn about other cultures. That's how you figure things. You know what I mean? So like that whole situation was incredible, and then for them to, and mind you, the other thing was that these two. You kind of felt like there was going to be mad drama between the coach and the father, because you could see that the coach is sweet on his wife.
Yeah, he had a crush on the wife a little bit.
He's sweet on his wife, you know what I mean? But then there was this whole situation about how they fought in the 6th grade and all of that.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing that I appreciated about this, right? There was a time period where the Black family was hardcore glorified. You know what I mean? They really, really put a really strong emphasis on the Black family in this thing, because in that time period, it was there. And now adding Martin Luther King, because the thing about Martin Luther King is that Martin Luther King wasn't a politician or anything like that. He was a chosen leader. He was big. He was a guy who was just like, he organized people. He was an organizer and led to legislation. I think the main difference between now and then is that we don't necessarily have a collective legislation that we're looking for. You know what I mean? Because it's not necessarily about the politicians. It's about somebody who's trying to organize somebody to get whatever it is that we all want. And we're not there anymore. We're not there as a people, as a collective, probably because, things got better. But the reality of the situation is just that, like, we don't have that level of unification, probably because there isn't that level of suffering, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And now I want to see more into this show because I'm curious to see how these people lived in the 1960s. Because mind you, as somebody that saw the Wonder Years, what I expected was just another funny show, but from a Black perspective, right? But what I'm getting is the perspective of the Black family in the mid 1960s, which is incredible to me.
It is.
A lot of people see that.
Yeah, I enjoyed the show too. I don't know if we're giving it a thumbs up. I give it a thumbs up. A couple of things I appreciated about the show was, even though we did talk about more of the heavier topics that were covered in the episode, it was just a really funny show. It was a funny, cute show that you could put on, with your family and your kids. And also, I appreciated the fact that this is a Black dark-skinned family. A lot of the times we get Black families and, very kind of ambiguous, kind of like Blackish, where, you get the lighter skin, this person's mixed, this person mixed, and there's nothing wrong with mixed, right? But I think that there's not enough representation of dark-skinned families. So I appreciated that was shown in this show. And I would definitely watch it again. Honestly, I thought it was a good show. I'm giving it a thumbs up. It hooked me. So yes. What did you think, Jack?
I love the show. I didn't know what to expect. I'm not gonna lie. At first, when we Vic picked the show, at first he picked Steve Harvey. I said, I hope you don't go for a straight too. And this was really good. When I was watching, I said, damn, Vic is good. Like, I kind of almost wanted to cry. I almost called Vic crying. I'm trying to make it light. I mean, we were talking about, like you said, like the really heavy and dark. I don't want to say dark, but the heaviest subject part. But I agree, it was a fun show.
Kind of like Everybody Hates Chris, almost a little bit. It reminds me of that to a certain extent.
I didn't even think that. Wow.
But that show was so good because it was based on reality. I mean, even Everybody Loves Raymond was based on reality. You know what I mean? That shit was just hilarious. A Long Island Italian mother, like, come on. And then an Italian, come on, who's better than Frank Barone? I mean, come on. Come on.
And Marie.
Like, oh my God! Holy crap! Oh,
I did like some of those episodes when they would cross over with Kings of Queens somehow or whatever, because I love Kings of Queens. So when they would cross over, I love stuff like that. But no, this was a fun show, and I would recommend people to go watch it. You can watch it with your family, watch it by yourself. It's a really fun show. I can see there's gonna be another Black family that I love. And shout out to our girl Black JJ, because she was in there. We didn't even get to talk about her enough. But even at the end of the episode, it looked like she wants to do something.
You know what I'm interested in seeing more?
Sure.
That one spot where the picture falls out of her book.
She's a little Black Panther.
Yeah, I was gonna sit here and say. Well, remember at the end, she's going to the books and it looked like she's gonna pick another book, but she picks the Black Panther book. So there's definitely gonna be something with that. So it's definitely a show I would like to watch more of.
And if you would like to watch more of our show, you can join us next Saturday for another episode one shots, where we take another new series.
Hey.
And talk about the first episode next week. Are we doing Daredevil next week?
We are doing Daredevil.
We are doing Daredevil.
There's a new Daredevil coming out?
No, the episode one, new
season.
show.
We're gonna do the Netflix show, but now it's on Disney Plus. So we're gonna do episode 1, Daredevil, and that should be fun because with She-Hulk coming out, if I could note out a little bit, they're saying there's a tease that he's gonna be in it, and they're already trying to do something with continue the Daredevil stuff that they did on Netflix, but kind of have their own spin.
Okay.
So I think it's a great time.
Nice.
That Daredevil was pop. All right, let's do this.
All right. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like the video. And don't forget to check us out on Instagram. We just had UPR battles.
We did.
Just moments ago. It was a battle between Bugs Bunny and Pink Panther. So check that on our Instagram if you want to see who won. And join us later.
Yes. I'm watching we got the replay playing tomorrow. So bye, folks.
Bye.
Where's the there we go.
Bye. Bye.